What is up, everybody? It's so glad to have you here. It's so good to have you here. But hey, guys, welcome to another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and international award winning Make Every Second Count speaker, Jeff Marconette Jr. Now, I am not prepared for tonight. You see, I had I have guests lined up for months in advance. And things happen, I guess, sometimes because tonight's guest, I tried to get a hold of her yesterday and she didn't get in touch with me yesterday. So then today I kept trying all day and I sent her emails and messages on Facebook and nothing. But hey, whatever, we will survive because that's what I am, a survivor. So if you give me just a second here, I'm going to be inviting a few people to watch with us because I would love an audience. So hang on here. All right, we'll do this group, 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 this group. I'm just sharing it out all kinds of times. Why not? Um, all right. Well, I'll go ahead and get started here. It really doesn't matter if I have anybody in here or not, but I do kind of like having people in here. But guys, if you would, please tell me your name and where you're from. I would love to give you a shout out from your name and your place of living. All right. So, I'm going to be going over my 5 key principles to make every second count tonight. Now, this is kind of my tried and true um talk that I like giving. I know that it goes over well and I hope you guys receive it well. So, all right, I'll start by saying when I was 17 years old, I was involved in a car accident. Now, if you give me just a second, I'll bring up a picture of it and show it to you. So that was my car. You see, I was on my way one day from high school to lunch. I had open lunch and I was sitting at a red light waiting for it to turn green. And when it turned green, I went ahead and pulled forward. When I did, a semi truck coming from the opposite way decided he wasn't going to stop. Obviously, that was bad news because he smashed into my car, automatically leaving me unconscious, and I would spend the next 2.5 months in a coma. I had a broken neck, a fractured jaw, 2 broken ribs, a ruptured spleen, and a punctured lung. I had a tube in through my stomach to help me eat, a tube in through the side of my chest to reinflate my lung, and a tube in through my neck, and I was actually on a ventilator for a few days. Now, I spent all this time in the ICU, and then I went down to a step down unit, and then I went from there to a rehab unit where I would spend about 2.5 months. And I did physical, speech, occupational, and recreational therapy during that time. Hey Cassie, it's good to see you tonight. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching too, Dad. I hope you're enjoying your time over there with the girls. But while I was in that therapy, I was slowly coming out of a coma. And they even had me doing things while in a coma. So I was standing and stuff on boards to prevent me from having drop foot, which drop foot is when your feet this is your leg and your feet would be straight. And as you can imagine, it wouldn't be good for trying to walk again. But like I said, even before I was out of a coma, I was doing that stuff. And they kept, kept making me do more and more as I would generally get better at doing things. But I kept fighting and kept striving for more, which I didn't know it. I mean, I was in a coma and I kept doing things, but I didn't know what I was doing. And eventually I got to the point where I came out of my coma. And this was a really welcome sight by the people of the hospital because they didn't think I would actually come out of it. But guess what? I did. And you see, it's about never giving up on yourself. So that is actually one of the principles, but I'll jump into the principles now. So after I came out of my coma and I got back to where I am now, I which has taken me 22 years to get back to where I am now, but I realized some things that would have helped me when I was younger, live a happier, more fulfilled life. And now I want to tell everybody those things, excuse me. So the first one is before my accident, I had all kinds of abilities. Now, I played in band in school, which that doesn't really matter. I could type really well, and I played all kinds of sports that I could get my hands on. There was nothing I wouldn't try, and chances are I was pretty good at it too. But I'm not talking those kind of abilities. I'm talking abilities to hold your head up straight. I'm talking abilities to be able to turn your head. I'm talking abilities to walk. I'm talking abilities to talk, to see, to pick something up off the concrete. I'm talking those kind of abilities. You see, we all have those abilities. And oftentimes we take them for granted. I'm not saying you, I'm not saying me, but I'm saying we, because each and every one of us do that in our lives. We don't notice these little things that are actually big things that we can appreciate and be thankful for and will create joy in our lives. So the first one, don't take your abilities for granted. Then number two is I always wanted all kinds of things in life. but I wasn't thankful for what I already had. You see, my parents always had a nice house. We lived in a nice neighborhood. We had lots of kids, lots of area to go out and play in our neighborhood. We had friendly neighbors. I always wanted them to have a nicer house. I always wanted them to live in a nicer neighborhood with more kids that I could go out and play with, and more area that I could go out and play in. But I wasn't thankful for what I already had. You see, I was talking about they always had a nice house. We always had a nice house. We lived in a nice neighborhood with lots of kids. We had lots of area to go out and play outside. But I wasn't thankful for that stuff. And that stuff, while you should be thankful for that, we often don't see those things in life. And this is something I have realized. So if we notice those things about life, then how in the world are we not going to be happy? How in the world are we not going to develop joy, develop gratitude in ourselves? So, number two is don't take what you have now for granted. Then, number three is life is a gift. It's a precious, precious gift that can be taken away in the blink of an eye. Look, I don't know if I closed my eyes, if I blinked my eyes in my car accident, but my whole world changed in that split second. And your whole world can change in a split second. So don't take your life for granted. You know, every morning that I wake up, I post on Facebook, even before I get out of bed, even before I go to the bathroom. I post, I am so thankful to be given today, and I will make it a great day. You see, I start my day with gratitude, with a positive thought. And that is amazing because that starts my day off the right way. That sets my mind what to look for in the day. Because if my mind looks for the right things, then I'm going to see more things that I want more of, things that are going to make me happy, are going to allow me to refuse all outside influences and revert back to me because I am happy. I am joy. And I have developed this through all my gratitude and all this other stuff that I'm trying to help you guys realize in your life. Thank you, Cassie. It's so important. If you get these 5 principles down, you can live a great life. You can live your best life. In fact, you can make the rest of your life the best of your life. What is in your past doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect you today because you have that joy in there. It's good to see you, Jonathan. But all right, so number three is life is a gift that should be celebrated each minute because it can be taken away so quickly. So, number four is never, ever, 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 ever give up on yourself. So, let's see here. All right. After my accident, when I got out of the coma and I was riding in the hospital in a wheelchair and people were pushing me around letting me see the sights and sounds around me. And I was told at that time, Jeff, you don't have to keep fighting if you don't want to. People live every day in a wheelchair and they're happy. I said, yeah, they might be, but me, I'm not. So I finally got to the point where I was walking with the walker. Everybody was shocked. They all didn't expect that much from me. But I did it. And they told me again, Jeff, you don't have to continue this therapy thing now. You've been fighting for a while now. You don't have to keep fighting for more. This is probably the best you can expect. People live every day walking with a walker and they're happy. I said, yeah, you're right. They might be, but me, I'm not. So I kept fighting for a while longer. And I got to the point, you have a great night, Cassie. Enjoy work. But I kept fighting. And I got to the point where I was walking with a cane. And this was amazing. This had more freedom than the wheelchair or even the walker. And again, they told me, Jeff, you've been fighting so long, you've accomplished so much so far. You don't have to keep on fighting. People live every day walking with a cane and they're happy. I said, yeah, they might be. Me, I'm not. So after a while, I got to walking unassisted, just like I am now, just like most of you out there are probably doing at this moment. And they said to me again, Jeff, you've done it, man. You can go ahead and stop fighting now. You've accomplished so much. You've accomplished your goals. People live every day walking unassisted and they're happy. I said, yeah, they might be. But me? No, I'm not. You see, I am going to run. Nobody out there can stop me from running except for me. That is the only person that can hold me back. And that's the only person that can hold you back in your life is you. Don't allow what somebody else tells you is going to be possible be your truth. Push and test your own limits because you're not going to know what is possible for you if you stop when somebody else gives you permission to stop. So, number 4 is don't ever give up on yourself. Hey, Corinne, good to see you tonight. Then, my 5th and final point that encompasses the first 4 is I learned I could make every second count. And if I can, I know that each and every one of you can. Yeah, I am talking to you. I want you to actually hear this because it is possible for you too. Just like I said earlier, make the rest of your life the best of your life. That is possible. Don't think it's not because it is. Look, if I'm living this way after what I went through, what is holding you back? There are 86,400 seconds in a day. I know. I know that's a lot of seconds, Jeff. How am I going to make them all count? It's not that hard. If you live by the first four principles that I told you about. Now, I'm going to put these up on the screen here for a few minutes, or, well, not a few minutes, but a short time. So I'll go over these again. The first one is, before my accident, I had abilities that I took for granted. Don't take any ability that you have now for granted. Be thankful of those things and appreciate those things, because they can go away so quickly. And then number two is, be thankful for what you already have. Don't always be looking for more. Yes, it is good to always strive for more. Always want better for yourself. I agree with that. But I want you to be thankful, be appreciative of what you already have. Then number three is, life is a gift that should be celebrated each and every day, because it can be taken away so darn quickly. So don't take your life for granted. You're lucky to be living. And then number four is, never, ever, ever, ever give up on yourself. Remember, the only person that can hold you back from achieving what you want to achieve is you. Nobody, people are going to give you permission to quit. And they tried to give me permission to quit after my accident. But I told them no, because they didn't hold that power over me. I held that power over me. And then number five was, I learned that I could make every second count. And if I can, each and every one of you out there can. There's nothing holding you back except for you. And I want you to honestly realize that you are holding yourself back in life if you aren't doing the things you want to do. If you aren't happy, if you aren't pushing for more, if you aren't doing things to challenge yourself, if you aren't learning more and more every day, if you aren't smiling, you're holding yourself back. And I don't want you guys to do that. I want you to realize that you are the most powerful person in your life. Nobody else is more powerful than you in making up your life. And I want you guys to realize that you can live your best life. You can become the best you that you can be. You can make the rest of your life the best of your life. How do I know it? Because I have done it. And if I have done it, what is stopping you? Guys, I'm Jeff Marconette Jr., and I am reminding you that you have to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, you have a great night.